As the Daybreak Show continues on, it's time for another Sheriff Sit Down, and it's brought to you by the great friends at Our Community Credit Union. All right, so I'm here with Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury. How you doing?
Morning.
We're outside.
Yes.
Because things have changed.
Again.
And I am seeing on, not only on social media, which is a whole nother beast, but two, how people are interacting with each other on the streets. And it's kind of concerning to me a little bit how friends have become distant over these masking regulations and then all the other things that have been going on in the year and a half. What have you seen, and are you concerned about this as well?
Yeah, Jeff, I think what's interesting and concerning at the same time is to watch how people react. And again, for us when we're in uniform, I stop to get gas and somebody comes up and starts in on me about, what are you going to do, Sheriff? Are you going to make these people do whatever it is they want?
Right.
And within a second, and your car's not even filled up with gas, the next person hears and says, oh no, that person's wrong. And immediately, two people are facing off immediately at a gas station. And I'm so far on the other side of the issues without any, it doesn't seem like any concern for what the other person might have going on in their life, or the circumstance that they might have with a child or a family member that might be really necessary for people to have a mask on around that person to keep them safe. But with total disregard on one side or the other, and just button heads.
Yeah.
And it's really concerning. And for those of us in law enforcement, there's a whole bunch of other things going on, as you know, that we've talked about with the new laws and things, and it's these opposite stands. And it's concerning to see how angry. I've seen friends be mad at each other over this, over whether it's a political issue of the masking thing or what's going on. It's really tough.
What are you guys doing in the Sheriff's Department? The governor, so we're filming this on a Thursday. By the upcoming Monday, it'll be a statewide mandate again for masking indoors. There are some exemptions, of course, too. But what's the process for the Sheriff's Office? And I'm mostly concerned about maybe a traffic stop and how that looks. Does the deputies then, they mask up before they go to the person, or how does this all work?
You know, it's so interesting for us because I feel like, and again, it's been a number of years since I've worked the road, but for law enforcement or emergency service workers, and people that work on an ambulance or medics and things, we've always been mindful. So many times we've put on rubber gloves, or we've put on masks before, or goggles or whatever, because of transmissible issues, bloodborne pathogens, right, basically. And we've been taught that for many, many years. And so for us, I don't think it's as much out of the norm as people think it is. And for our folks, we don't work from home. Our people come in every day, so we haven't had, we don't get days off or working from home. We're there every day. And so it's pretty normal for our people to be involved in this, just as I would assume with the firefighters and emergency service workers. For us to put a mask on and put gloves on has been fairly common for us, and it hasn't been that big of a change. When we go into people's homes and that kind of stuff, yes, being super respectful of their environment, even though they've called and asked for our assistance for something or need some information or something. For us, being super respectful of the other person, and we want to do that both to make sure that we're not doing something that would be harmful to them, and that also that we keep our employees safe.
We're going to bring Chief Deputy Ryan Spurling in here in just a second, but before I let you off here, another just message to the community about, I don't know, brotherly love, or whatever you can say to kind of get people to think about the other person, I guess.
It's so neat when you see the other side of that. And the other day, somebody came in and they opened the office door and they just said, "Thank you for doing what you do," or something to the front office, and left. They weren't there to get a permit for anything. It was just to say something nice, and it's like, wow, what a nice thing that is. And honestly, and I feel really good about most of the time in Mason County compared to other places when we see things going tragically, angrily. We do have tremendous amount of support from our community, and so it's not all bad. And I would much rather be living in Mason County with this stuff going on than a lot of other places in the country, because I think people are trying here. It's just remembering that not everybody. I think the biggest thing that I like to remind people of, and this comes back again from my days of teaching school, not everybody knows. Like, I don't know what's going on at the Slakey house today, and just to be mindful that what I say might be affecting or offending your child or another family member or something. So to be mindful that when you take a stand on something, that there's other people that are affected by it. I think that goodwill of just being mindful of that would really help. And Chief Spurling will come in here. We had this conversation a little while before we came down today. He's out speaking with our people on the road constantly about how are they doing. How are they doing when these people walk up? Because when you're all day long getting a barrage of this, you get filled up after a while,
Yeah.
and so it's a challenge. But if we can all remember just to be nice. Rule one, be nice. If you can't follow rule number one, go to rule number two, which is be nice again. And I think we'd be much better off. But I think when you can be positive with somebody and be kind to somebody, that speaks volumes. It makes you feel better. It makes them feel better for the day. And I hope that we can move forward through this, because I'm not sure that for a while there's still going to be some challenges as we move forward, as you can see with new mandates coming out. And we just have to think about how we deal with it and how what we say might affect somebody else.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, more of the Sheriff Sit Down presented by our Community Credit Union with Chief Deputy Ryan Spurling. Now you can keep it going. Okay. All right, so you take that off, and then Ryan will sit down. Perfecto.
Should I say something about how you grew? How what? Look, you grew.
Oh yeah, because on me it's an angle.
Oh, yeah. That I was telling somebody the other day. They asked me about, maybe it was you, was asking about how I'm running it. And I said, well, Sheriff and I, Libark and I, we consulted with each other. And we decided that, in the interest of fairness for everyone, we'd give the tall people a chance.
Sure, that's it. That's it.
After 30 years, we give the tall people a chance. we didn't want to put anybody out.
All right, here we go. Continuing in 3, 2. Three, two, one. Well, the Sheriff Sit Down continues here on Daybreak, and it's brought to you by our Community Credit Union. Chief Deputy Ryan Spurling now with me. How you doing? We're still outside, and it's good to talk with you.
It's good to talk with you as well.
We were talking with Sheriff Salisbury a little bit about what he's seen out there on the road, and even just interactions at businesses and things like that. What about you? What have you seen out there? And when you talk to your patrol deputies, what's going on with them?
It's been an interesting dynamic. We live in a small community, a great community, yet we're being polarized like many of the bigger communities. But we know each other.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. And it comes down to a couple simple things that the sheriff already covered. They don't care how much you know about your side of the issue until they know how much you care.
Right.
And that's been an adage that's been around for a while, but it's true. There are people on one side of an issue, whether it be one of our emergency room doctors, who's looked into the eyes of multiple people that have died as a result of this, and he doesn't understand why somebody would not want to get the vaccination and would not want to wear the mask, because they've dealt with it over and over again.
Right.
And then you've got the other side where you've got somebody who's been in the military and they were given the anthrax vaccine and they were sick for 2 to 3 years and they had no choice, and it brought back their PTSD, and they believe if they get this vaccine it's going to bring back their PTSD. Oh my goodness, these are both legitimate reasons that people have the position that they have. And the thing I would encourage people is realize that just because they're on the opposite side of where you stand doesn't mean they're bad people. They just have a different perspective on why they believe what they believe. And if we seek to find out why people believe what they believe, we're then at that point going to have that breakdown of that division and have unity. And that's something we can do in this community that some of the bigger communities can't. And I'm really encouraging people, if you don't believe in the mask mandate, don't go into the store and create a crisis. Order your food, have it delivered to your car. Don't create a crisis just to make a point. Whether you believe in it or whether you don't believe in it, we got to put people first, and people of our community first. And we're not psychologists, and we're not, immunologists, so we're not going to go down those roads. But we do know what relationships, how they deteriorate and how they build in our community.
Talking with as many folks that I have over the 15 years here, and you guys are out there every day talking with folks, our differences are few. We have much more in common than a lot of people think we have in common. And because everybody kind of goes along, and everybody's going to go to Forest Festival this weekend, and everybody enjoys Forest Festival, and no one's really bringing up a lot of this other stuff. It's so on the far edges that we've got a lot more that we can work together towards. And I think everybody wants the county and the community to be better. It's that some folks have different ways of getting there.
Absolutely. And, there's so much that we can't control right now.
Right.
So one thing we've always learned in crisis is that people reach for things that they can control when they're in an uncontrollable situation. One thing everybody, we can control is what we do health-wise to build up our immunity. Because there's a lot of studies showing that even if you have the vaccine, you can carry the virus. It all comes back to your immunity, whether you have the vaccine, whether you don't. So some of the things that everybody on both sides can do is eat right, exercise, get healthy sleep, control what you're watching, keep your mind, your spirit, your body healthy. And those are things we do have control over in a very uncontrollable time in this world.
Yeah, we are on the edge of another unknown here in the next few months as we move into the fall and into the winter. So just do what you can to be positive and a good person in the community. And the messages are out there. The Sheriff's Office, they're doing the best they can as well. Everybody's trying hard right now. It's tough. The Sheriff Sit Down is presented by our Community Credit Union. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.